You ever feel like you're just constantly hustling to prove you're good enough? In our work, especially if you're in human services or a leadership role, that pressure can be absolutely immense. Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today, using Dr. Brené Brown's amazing book, The Gifts of Imperfection. We're going to explore a completely different path, one she calls Wholehearted Living, and it's a framework that can totally transform not just how we lead, but how we build those resilient, connected communities we're all trying to create. So how do we do it? Let's find out. To really get what we're talking about, just look at this. This is Kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. And the whole philosophy behind it is just incredible. It says, don't hide the cracks, highlight them. Make the piece more beautiful, more valuable because of its history, because of what it's been through. This is the perfect metaphor for our journey today, figuring out how our own cracks, our imperfections, can actually become our greatest strengths. And really, that whole journey starts with this one single powerful idea from Brené Brown. It's not about pretending we're flawless or trying to erase our past. Nope, it's about having the courage to own all the parts of ourselves and our stories. That's what transforms our cracks into something beautiful, into gold. This isn't about the impossible goal of being perfect. It's about the very brave work of just being whole.
So let's start by taking a closer look at those cracks that Brené Brown's research uncovered. She found this fundamental struggle that really connects all of us, this deep feeling that we're not enough, and the crazy lengths we go to hide it. As she was sifting through thousands and thousands of stories from people, she started to see this super clear divide. There were people who were living these vibrant, connected, joyful lives, and then there were those who were just constantly struggling. She realized their whole approach to life could be sorted into two very different lists, which she eventually called Wholehearted Living versus the Hustle for Worthiness. And what these lists showed her was profound. And here they are, those two paths, right next to each other. On the left, you've got wholehearted living, things like worthiness, rest, authenticity. But just look at that list on the right, what she calls the hustle for worthiness. Perfectionism, numbing and exhaustion, certainty and control. I mean, for anyone in a demanding leadership or service role, does that right-hand column feel maybe a little too familiar? It's the fast track to burnout. We tell ourselves we're just striving for excellence, but really, we're just hustling to feel like we're good enough. So what is it? What keeps us stuck on that right-hand list, just hustling till we're totally exhausted? Brown points to one primary core emotion. She calls it the swampland of the soul. It's shame. And look, shame isn't just feeling embarrassed about something. It's this deep, gut-wrenching belief that if people really saw us, all of us, they wouldn't love us. It's the fear of disconnecting. And that is why shame has so much power. See, as human beings, we are literally biologically wired for connection, so the fear of losing that is one of the most terrifying feelings we can possibly experience.
Now, it is absolutely critical to understand the difference between shame and guilt. Guilt says, I did something bad. It focuses on our actions, our behavior, and it can actually be pretty healthy. It can motivate us to change. But shame? Shame says, I am bad. It attacks our very identity and tells us we are fundamentally flawed and beyond repair. As leaders, this distinction is everything. We can hold people accountable for their behavior without ever shaming their character.
So just take a second and really think about this. When that feeling of I'm not good enough just washes over you, what's your go-to defense mechanism? Do you get angry, lash out? Do you hide and just withdraw from everyone? Or maybe you try to please and appease everybody? Knowing how you react to shame is the very first step toward changing that reaction. Okay, so if shame is the thing that creates the cracks, what's the golden lacquer we use to mend them? Well, Brené Brown's research points to a really clear set of tools that help us build resilience and allow us to heal. And here they are: courage, compassion, and connection. But let's be really clear about what these mean. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about speaking your truth with your whole heart. Compassion isn't pity from above. It's feeling with someone as an equal. And connection, well, that's that real palpable energy that flows between people when they feel truly seen, heard, and valued. These are the powerful antidotes to shame. So how do we actually use these tools? Because they aren't just nice ideas to think about. They form a practical, step-by-step process for building what Brown calls shame resilience. This is how we start actively, intentionally repairing our own fractures with gold. Okay, so here's the 4-step practice. First, you've got to recognize it.
Learn what shame actually feels like in your body so you can catch it early. Second, you practice critical awareness. You reality check all those unrealistic messages and expectations that are feeding the shame. Third, and this one is a total game changer, you reach out. Shame literally cannot survive being spoken out loud and met with empathy. And finally, you speak shame. You name the emotion and you ask for what you need. And remember, this is a practice, not a performance. You don't have to get it right every time.
So, how does all of this deeply personal work translate into the real world of leadership and community building? The answer is directly, 100%. The culture of any organization, any project, any community is shaped by the courage of its leaders to be real.
A wholehearted leader creates a space where it's safe for people to be vulnerable, to innovate, to admit they made a mistake, to ask for help without fear. They model this by being authentic themselves. They get that, like Brown says, compassionate people are boundary people, so they set clear expectations to avoid resentment down the line. And they create cultures not of fitting in, but of true belonging, where diversity isn't just tolerated, it's seen as essential.
This just brings it all together, doesn't it? Brown offers this up as a personal prayer. And it's such a powerful call to action for all of us. It's a commitment to embrace every single part of ourselves, our strengths and our struggles, the broken bits and the beautiful bits, so that we can finally show up as our true, authentic, whole selves. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this thought. We all have cracks. Our teams have them, our communities have them, our projects have them. The question isn't how to prevent them from ever happening. The real question is how we choose to respond. Are we going to hide them in shame, or are we going to have the courage to fill them with the gold of courage, compassion, and connection? The choice really is ours.